They had like a fun little flyer Nintendo put out for Paper Mario. Like, hey, this is like the Guinness Book of World Records holder that can like fire like a paper airplane the longest distance or something.
Yeah.
And like, here's how you make Mario into a paper airplane, right? And then you see all the comments and be like, this is just cringe. I'm like, it is geared towards kids. Like, my kids love it. Like, my 13-year-old still loves origami. So, like, yeah, he was all into it.
Yeah.
Like, it's kids.
You know what? Internet, touch grass, man. You know what's great?
Yeah.
Making paper airplanes and flicking them about. Like, relax. Just
Why not?
have fun. Like,
Exactly.
we're not going to get any nice things if you keep acting this way. Come on.
Right. See?
Keep going, Nintendo. Don't listen. Don't listen to the haters. Nintendo's like, thanks, New Dad Gaming.
Yeah, we stepped in and defended them. They're like, oh.
Finally Nintendo has a defender, a staunch defender. In
right.
this podcast, anyways.
Yep.
Adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming. It's a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives.
My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Each week, we try to show that just because you became a dad,
Does not mean it's game over.
man, it's kind of a flexible sort of state because the oldest is turning 9 in a few days.
Yes,
So
that's
we're
right.
We're gonna have this 3-year gap for a little while. Because usually when I say my kid's age, I start with the top one,
Yeah.
and then I just work my way back.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Because he's locked in, so the second one I can just remember by association.
Yes.
But that'll just be out the window for a little while, and probably gonna mess up a few times. But
Probably
That-
will. It's the internet doesn't last forever. Like, your kids are never gonna find out.
What was it like when one of your kids hit the decade mark? When one of them became 10. 10 is a big number. Like, there's something really encroaching about that being on the distance where it's like, wow, like a decade with this being.
It usually starts with a conversation of how late is my bedtime. So be prepared
point
for
one.
that.
And an allowance, like, it's just all the old stuff shows up because there's double digits.
It's basically that. It's like, now I'm this old soul and I need more responsibility and fun and push
not
the
too much
limits.
And to be clear, when I say responsibility, what I mean is I'm allowed to do more things.
Do more things, not take
that-
care of things. Yeah.
Yeah, not that you're going to make me do things. I mean that the things that I want to do
Yes.
expands.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and you're also competing against every other 10-year-old and their parents and what their style is, right? So, like, Jimmy Cricket over there can walk to the park all by himself at midnight, so I want to do that. So,
It's more the cell phone one is the one I'm gearing up for because that's coming in a big way, and we're hoping to hold it back. But
I'm for it, man. I'm sorry, but, like, you do it. I would do it. I wouldn't say sell signal, but for like, they have a cell phone, but it's still Wi-Fi. Like, I'm not paying.
Okay.
I'm not paying in Canada
Gotcha.
40-50 $50 a month. No way.
yeah, I'm just thinking no phone at all. But I don't know. We're gonna cross. That's gonna be a whole show in the future. When I cross it, we'll see
really
where we
is.
arrive. But I also don't want to make any grand ideas because by the time we actually get there, it's like we folded like paper, folded like wet paper. There's no
That's
chance.
it. Yeah.
Anyways, hey, we folded like wet paper. You know what else was like paper? Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door.
Great
Look-
transition. I love that. Let's just take that in.
The best transition of the show. 7 years and counting.
Yeah.
So, good friends of the show, Nintendo, they'd reached out with a game code with Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door, which, we've been pretty clear about our policies here. We received some number of codes. You guys only hear about it if we actually like it. So
Right.
it's like we could care less to disparage any game, but if something's really great, awesome. But to be clear, we did receive a review copy What was it like? What was the review on your side playing Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door?
Yeah, so the dad side of things, because I had my go at this, it is a delightful little game, and it's something that I didn't realize that was out on the GameCube. Again, we've talked about that at length, where we just didn't own a GameCube, and this
Wait, this
game
is
was
a
out there.
re-release?
Yeah, so what we're actually
Oh.
seeing here is the GameCube version, and they've
Oh.
remastered it to be super pretty and a lot cleaner, and some of
Fascinating.
the translation is even different. But yeah, I've never heard of it before. Again, didn't have a GameCube. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of this. Like, I just thought it was Paper Mario and that was it. But this was a cute little story. I think about halfway through it and just having a fun time. Like we said at the start of the show, it's just a fun, entertaining, pick me up kind of, not really thinking too hard about the puzzles, going through and just having fun and seeing all the little mechanics.
Now, speaking of mechanics, like, so I'm trying to so we have a video playing as we're recording this, and I'm trying to scrub to find some action, and I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing a lot of dialogue and talking. Are there battles in this game? Like, what's the hook? Like, what's the mechanic?
So this links in with my kids review. Okay.
Thanks for queuing up my child's review of this.
That's, again, great transition. I love it. So dad review. Yes, there are battles in this game, and they're turn-based, so you select. It's like Mario RPG. So Mario has a hammer, a jump, and a bunch of other things that he gains along the way, and you fight against the other enemies, and they have like 6 hit points or something. Like, it's not too much, right? And you go back and forth, whatever. And you start to gain up your little party. Now, few and far between, as much as I've played, it's not like battles appear out of nowhere. It's part of the story that you're doing. So you're wandering around these kind of open hub areas, and then you get into a battle for a story point. Great. I'm having a great time with it. My 11-year-old, who I have talked on the show about how they don't like story-driven anything, their first comment of this, there's just a lot of talking.
They're sure running their gums a lot in this one, huh?
Yeah, to the point where and Nintendo's they're not slow with the script that appears on screen, but there's a delay, so you can't just like mash through. It'll stop you a little bit, right? So my 11-year-old is just hammering that A button to go forward. Yeah.
just
So-
purposely not reading. It's like, I refuse to read this.
They do not care about the story, and that's just them. They do not care about the story and narrative in any of the games, but they are having fun with it. It's just if Nintendo's really putting this out there and they're like, "Hey, this story is amazing," my 11-year-old is not receiving that, but they are having fun with it. So they do enjoy the little battle systems. They did complete all of Paper Mario Origami King, so that previous game. So they're having fun with this. They're just not about the story. So
that is good. So what is, you're in it, you're enjoying it, excellent game, which you kind of expect from a Paper Mario. Just anything Mario tends to be of good quality. So it seems like it hits that bar. The interesting thing from a dad review standpoint, for smaller ones or little ones who might want to play, look, this is a lot of reading. There's a lot more story driven than action beats. Because I think even with Origami, if I remember right, looking at some of the mechanics and like the overworld, there's a lot of kind of fun, enjoyable. Like, I remember, like, at one point you have to like throw leaves onto holes and like to get things patched. So the things to do. That was better for younger ones. This one does not seem. This one seems to skew a little older.
yeah, it's more RPG. So there's save points. You have to go to like little inns. You have to find a certain person. So if you're not listening to the speech bubble, you're not knowing who to find. And there's a journal system that kind of reminds you. But again, if you don't know how to read or don't care to read, it's just going to be a little bit more frustrating. Whereas the other one was a world where lots of stuff to do, and you probably stumble along the next thing in the story. This thing is a little more like, no, we need you to go to point A to point B, and then continue on. So as far as I know, again, it hasn't really opened up for me. But yeah, so my 11-year-old is trucking along, but I don't know how they're doing it. They're just guessing where they're going next. So,
man, this style is, it's just remarkable. Like, it just, again, one of those things where Nintendo's just willing to be a little buck wild with their IPs. and just how the fidelity and the visuals of this are so beautiful. Like, this is so cool looking.
They are very clean. There's reflections off everything. I will say it eats your Switch battery. Okay. So it will not provide you more than maybe 90 minutes from my testing before you need to charge that sucker. And maybe that my Switch is, years and years old and the battery's kind of wearing through. But this thing will make your Switch a little hot and run that fan, because Nintendo really did up the graphics on a lot of these things where there's reflections on everything, and everything seems super crisp. So
right. Hey, gets it done. So a good review. So Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, remake of a GameCube classic, the console favored by at least 2 to 3 people. Doesn't, but the re-release seems, it's kind of funny because it ends up being this really deep well of games that you can dip into.
Yeah,
because they were good games that many people just didn't have a chance to play. So kind of cool to see this one bring it back. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, check it out. Now you didn't go back far enough.
No,
with Paper Mario with the GameCube. You we got to go further. Keep going back. Let me boot up DOS. Let me get some games going here. And you decide to play what could be called a homage to Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yes. So this was just random on our Twitter account where I saw the makers of Songs of Conquest say, hey, who wants a game code? So full disclosure, we won a game code. And
what a week. We're just it's just games are raining down from the sky.
Right? What backlog? What do we need? What time? Yeah. So this is all the way back for anybody that played Heroes of Might and Magic 1, 2, 3 on their old PC back in the 90s. God, it would be like 94 or something. This is definitely a throwback to that time. So the overworld, the 2D sprites, it is like semi 2.5D too, like you can zoom in and stuff. But it's very much that vibe. An overworld, cities that you have to kind of crash and run through. You build up an army, you go point to point, and there's multiplayer and all sorts of like co-op elements. There's a map editor. All this stuff is great. Again, I don't know what your experience was with Heroes of Might and Magic, but I played that game to death with my brother. We would go against the PC like every snow day, every rainy day, like anything that we could get our kind of like a couple hours to go into that game. So this very much hit home for me, where it's just calling back those feelings, and it does feel like they've captured that vibe with adding their own stuff. Obviously, you have to modernize it, but they do make it their own game with some elements. There's a lot more strategy involved in the battles. Every battlefield seems different to me, with different elevations and different environments and stuff. So that's great to see. But yeah, I don't know if you're a Heroes of Might and Magic fan. I know I grabbed this code before you could say wait.
Wait, I am also a fan. So I immediately went and looked. I think this might, once I get through some of my backlog, this might be a purchase for me, because I'll say in some ways I was almost Heroes of Might and Magic adjacent. Okay. It was a game that many of my buddies were deep into, and they were much like yourselves, like just hours and hours into it. And it'd be the type of thing where I would be at their place, and that's what we'd be playing.
Oh, okay.
So I myself never had them, but I easily clocked in like numerous hours into the world. And the one thing I immediately kind of thought about was, and this is, so again, let me kind of summarize that point. Seeing this gives you the itch to play those games.
Yes.
Because you remember trying to go through the map, like some of the resource farming, just like all the parts of it, the battle system, like it just immediately speaks to it. But then you get all of the niceties of a modern gameplay, all of the lessons we've learned about how to make a better game.
Yep.
And they've done a heck of a job with the visuals. Like, this looks fantastic. Is it Bravely Default, the one that had the 2.5 visual art style?
It's along those lines. Like Square does a lot of those things that like Octopath Traveler and like a lot of the new Final Fantasies from the old pixel art does this kind of effect where you can kind of zoom in and see the pixel art in like a 3D way. So it is interesting, and it's quite striking, and it plays on the Steam Deck. So
that's like there it is.
It's full right circle. Like it's firing on all cylinders. I love it. And again, if I could go to myself back in the 90s and be like, hey, you are going to be playing like a Heroes of Might and Magic clone portably, like wherever you want. And I'll be like, what are you talking about? This is amazing. I don't have to stand in front of this giant computer screen like that's like mounted into the wall in the foundation of this house. I can go anywhere I want. Yes, you can.
I don't have to fight the static coming off of this clearly cancer-causing CRT monitor that weighs 100 pounds.
Right? So
so this will show my lack of understanding of the previous one. Was there stories? Like, is there a campaign and a story in the original Heroes of Might and Magic, and does this one have one?
Yeah, so the original did have a campaign. Not many people, like, you could burn through it pretty easily. And
like campaign as in, hey, do all the things, or as in like you are King Lordon who needs to reconquer the land?
Kind of a little bit of both of that. Like, it would set you the world map, and you'd be like, hey, you gotta go kill this guy, and like that would be it. Like, right? Like that would. There's nothing beyond that, or maybe like don't let this person die, but go conquer everything. Right? So the campaign was very simple and basic. This one does the same. There's not much to the campaigns. I think each one is like 5 or 6 scenarios each, but there's 4 of them with more to come, and they have a roadmap where they're going to add more because they've sold, I guess, 500,000 of this game, which is insane.
So good to see.
But there is a campaign. I'm kind of going through it casually. I'm more interested in the multiplayer and getting my kids on board if I can.
Yeah.
And the map editor I always like, because I like to wall myself in so I can take my time, and the computer struggles. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
The next question was the kids. So again, it's fairly deep. Like, if you look at all the words on screen as we're seeing, like, there's lots to read, lots of strategy to understand. It's not, I don't want to say, it's not that it's not accessible, but it's a strategic game. Like, it's an intelligent game. You're gonna have to really put together your party and fight smartly.
Yeah.
Is this your kids' jam? Either one? Like, do you think they would get into this? Like, where do you think they will fall, or have you even broached that subject yet?
I haven't brought it up yet. I will say that my kids understand the RNG numbers and the math behind everything and how to min max every single thing that they're in. But I don't know if they would continue on with a game that's not immediate action all the time, because there's a lot of exploration. You got to get the resources and then fight little battles along the way. But some of those turns, again, turn based, is you're watching someone go through and then end their turn. They may not be fighting any battles that turn, right? And you may be gaining resources and doing all that stuff. I don't know if they'll survive that, because we've played mostly real-time strategy games where, again, it's more fluid. Everything's happening all at once. I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot, because if I can instill that in them, and especially my 11-year-old, where I remember I was around that age and just dove into HOMM2, and that was my jam for years and years and years, I would love it. It would be a new dad gaming win.
Oh, that'd be so fantastic, especially this title. Like, because it could become. It's like, look, I'd love to go out antiquing, but the kids all want to get together and play this game. Like, it's
right?
It's about family time and bonding.
Might as well. We might as well get another Steam Deck while we're at it. I'm just saying.
Just like what? It's got to be OLED. You got to see these beautiful pixels up close.
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
So new dads out there, if you have an itch for some Heroes of Might and Magic, if you hear me say that and immediately start to get the flood of the music and the pixels in the game and everything else, check out Songs of Conquest. Looks like an absolutely fantastic phenomenal game, and awesome to see, again, one of these type of success stories from people coming up with interesting, cool IPs. So kudos all around. That's awesome. Speaking of IPs and new IPs,
Boom.
Check out what my... keep your eyes open for my kid's future PowerPoint gaming career as it comes about. And I was interested to talk to you because I know that your kids had delved into this a bit.
Yes.
But my oldest came home and he's like, here, check this out. And a friend at school had crafted an entire game just with PowerPoint. So they had discovered how to have a video looping seamlessly in the background. So as you're going through the various slides, it's just this scene of it almost looks like an endless runner. It's just like running through a tunnel.
Okay, yeah.
And then they're into these, he's currently into these figures called Arcados.
Okay.
which are little plastic widgets, and like you can put them onto a platform and swing their arms and attack each other. Okay, it's probably a TV show about it. That's for the purpose of selling these plastic toys.
Something I haven't seen, but yes.
That's
Okay.
what this is.
Yep.
Right? Anywho, so they would go to the internet, grab a photo of that Arcado, and then put it into the game. And this whole thing was live action, so it's supposed to be a little bit like WarioWare,
Okay.
slightly, where the scene of the running's in the background, and he's like, okay, everybody run. So me, my wife, and my other son are just sitting there like pretending they're running a spot. He's like, okay, every time this comes up, you have to punch to the left. And then everybody had like punch to the left. He's like, all right, every time you the right or up and down. Okay, now you have to jump. And all these things were to come up, and he's sitting there kind of controlling it and just having a blast, like putting us through. And then he had like boss battles.
Wow. Okay.
He's like, okay, the boss jumps around, and you have to like, push towards where he's coming. But if he doesn't attack, you have to dodge. And he was just like putting it all together. And it just of his own volition. It wasn't like, hey, let's sit down and build a game together. But he and a friend just ripped this thing together. I couldn't believe it. It was an absolute blast.
That's amazing to hear that. Again, just the ingenuity of using PowerPoint. Because again, I use PowerPoint for boring slides. And back in the day,
to use PowerPoint.
exactly. Like it's like, this is a tool I have to use, and like, you're being held hostage by it. But no, to go through and figure out a way and make a game out of it that's engaging and kind of comes off that WarioWare-esque choice and like follow along. And I'm wondering if there's any microtransactions, because they're gonna charge you. They'd be like, no, sorry, Dad, that's $5.
If you want to continue, it's $1.
Sorry,
but if you get the seasons pass, you can pay $20, and every time you play, you don't have to worry about this.
Right? And you can't say anything because you're like, you're learning math, and you don't even know it.
Joke's on you becoming an economist. You just had no idea.
Yeah.
Now you are
that's
banned from the
fantastic,
family
though.
for bringing in that nonsense, but
Yeah.
looks like you'll be able to take care of yourself. It was great. It's super exciting, pretty tiny story in the grand scheme of things, but just so wonderful to see. Hey, gaming dads out there, has your child come to you with their own game creation, PowerPoint or Scratch or anything else in between? Give us a write in. Give it. We'd love to hear from you. newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming on Twitter. So, continuing with, we kind of ended up with an accidental old theme with our.
We did, right?
Yeah, it's all kind of retro in this case. so for myself, what I've been trying to get into. So besides and listeners, like I've not forgotten that we had a poll.
I was gonna say, where is that standing? But
it still exists.
Okay,
I understand it. Like I have to get through Horizon Zero Dawn. That's on the PlayStation, which my main mode of play at the moment is to have it in my office on Ethernet that I stream to my phone, because the PlayStation actually streams really nicely, especially with the gamepad I have. But I got to thinking, one man can't subsist on just Horizon Zero Dawn.
No.
What might be more fun to also stream? And I decided just for the sake of trying, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to find an old NHL game. I'm going to find an NHL game for the PS4. I only have the PS4.
Right.
I'm going to find a old NHL title for the PS4 that I can try to stream to my phone and see what that kind of hockey experience is like on it. And the one that I ended up with, I could not believe how hard it was, to find one. You would think that GameStop is drowning in these stupid games. Like they'd give them away for coasters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
However, because they're, who wants to keep them, it makes sense. Except GameStop doesn't pay you a damn cent for those stupid games.
No, they don't.
Right?
No.
I don't even know if they take them. If I walk in with NHL, by the way, I ended up with NHL 9th, 2017.
It's right. It's crazy. That's
super old, right?
Yep.
I got it at a thrift store, like a donation, like charity store, for like $2.
That's where GameStop rolled up. They're like,
Yeah.
here, take these.
Because I bet if I take this to GameStop tomorrow, it's like, hey, would you give me any money? They're like, oh, no. Okay, will you take it? Also, no. Like we just
they would charge you just going through the door. They're like, no, you owe us to even look at that.
But where that left me is I couldn't find the title because nobody has them online. Nobody bothers to sell them.
No.
Because like what, you're gonna place NHL 17 on Marketplace, and some idiot dad like me is gonna show up with $5 trying to buy it.
I kind of want that to happen when you're done with this game, and just put it up on Marketplace. See who shows up.
$1.
No,
Well, I
like
thought it was-
$100, hard to find. No one
Oh my
has
lord!
this.
A collector's edition 2000
Yeah.
NHL 2017.
Yeah.
So that's the setup. The Quest was and look, I'm not kidding. Like I had this idea weeks ago. It took me a while to find a copy of NHL for the PS4. Anywho, so that's where I'm at. Like I'm gonna set everything up and give it a try. I'll keep everybody posted on it. But yeah, it's just one of the funniest thing is it's a brain worm basically, right?
Yeah.
Because I
yeah.
have Game Pass. Oh, sorry. Okay, but that works and it doesn't work because what I discovered is you cannot stream from Game Pass directly NHL from the Xbox. So you have to have it installed and then stream. Then you're actually just streaming your system,
Okay. Yeah.
right? Much like PlayStation, and for some reason that just like it felt more pure to like have an old ass disc and just funnier.
Okay, so like again, like you said at the top of this little segment, is like we've gone back in time. We have all this technology. We have VR. You could put video games on your face and be in the game, and we choose to go back to like the '90s PC game NHL 2017 to play on your phone. It's just it's funny how that happens. And then I don't know. We're looking at our kids like, why are you in Roblox? And then we're playing these '90s.
And this is after everything else we've been doing.
Yeah.
And what's really wild too is I had thought would be nicer would be a hockey game on PC.
Right. Yeah.
Because the Steam of all the streaming services I've done so far, PlayStation, either as in just directly from my system to the phone, Xbox streaming from the system to my phone or from Game Pass. The one that works the best, most reliably, is Steam.
Oh.
Not sure why. So Steam, like from my computer, streaming to my house to my phone, seems to be the best, like most reliable.
Huh.
Might just be a connection thing. So with that being the truth, it's like, well, okay, I'll just set up. Also, this, my kids cannot touch this. This is also my work computer, right? I do this for work, so they don't touch this one.
Right.
So with that being true, it's like, well, it'd be cool if I could just have a NHL game on PC, but that it does not exist. And like the NHL, there exists an NHL for PC. I don't know if I feel like I've talked about this history even before.
It's so weird that it doesn't. Like, it's got to be a licensing issue, right? Where they're like, this can appear on consoles, but not on PC.
Right. The last NHL game, NHL 09.
Wow. Okay.
The last NHL game to get a PC release was NHL 09. However, I don't think you cannot buy it anymore. It's not on any digital storefronts. You can buy it secondhand for at least $30.
That's crazy. See, now you're gonna hold on to this thing for a while, and it'll just be worth more money. It's an investment.
Hold on. So the best part about NHL, have you ever heard this history about this thing?
No, I don't think so.
09 PC mods. Okay, because what has happened, as you could almost expect, is that, look at this. So what you see here in the first video is the NHL 09 2024 mod.
Makes sense.
So what people have done is they've, as best as possible, upgraded the graphics.
Yeah.
They have modded in the latest teams, the latest jerseys. Like you can play the Golden Knights, which is one of the more recent teams. So you basically have this entire community just keeping this game on life support and just keep on moving it. So there is a mod that exists right now, the 2024 edition mod for NHL 09 on PC.
That is crazy.
For a game you can't buy. You cannot obtain this except to buy a secondhand copy.
I mean, good on the community for, like, again, keeping it alive and adding to it, right? Because I could see it. This is just becoming its own Skyrim, right? Where you have to buy this and then just mod the crap out of it. But the community's been very great. I am blown away by the amount of mods that come out for games and the people that spend time and even patch it in their own forums and take that feedback and correct things. But this is wild. How is hockey this small? Like, I know, again, Canada, a lot of hockey, but like worldwide, They would never let this happen to like FIFA or anything. Like they would. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's so dead that
just to let an entire to not let people play this. It's pretty specific. So I'm pretty sure you can play NFL on PC. Although I'm going to back that up now. This is doing a lot of Googling in the background. NFL.
it's
PC.
weird that it would be just one sport.
Yeah, there's NFL 22.
Yeah.
It's on
Okay.
Steam, so you can just buy it.
Okay.
Yeah, 24. So it's modern. You can just buy NFL
Buy
games. So
whatever.
it's something specific with NHL. It might just because it's so tiny.
Still
But-
weird.
So the only place I found it was on eBay, and true to its name, it's going for $40. NHL 09.
You got to think about who's selling that, because this is gonna be you one day. This is gonna be like, I'm gonna put this up on eBay. Wow, that's wild though. Like we're up to
Yeah.
60, $70 here, like just for an old game.
Plus
just-
shipping. Plus shipping. Don't
plus
forget.
shipping, and then you hope to God that it doesn't break or that EA finds out and disconnects you.
scratched.
or-
Well, that still exists in like one of the kind of gray areas as far as much like you sell a used game back to GameStop.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that's probably a bit more legal than some of the other stuff we've that would be going around it. But oh, yeah, I don't know if that ever gets fixed, but it's fascinating. But my
Well,
version of it, sorry.
We've mentioned it on this show, so it will get fixed. Like it'll just come to be now. Like you'll have the modern
It's like
hockey games on Steam, no problem.
what I was kind of sad about was that there was no other. I thought something would come in to fill the void.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right, I thought there'd be a new PC hockey game.
You want Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey on
Anything.
N64?
But before with the show, you and I were taking a quick look, and the pickings are slim.
Yeah.
Like not as in that like it has to be NHL. I just mean it has to be competent, and most of them are sub PS1 era stuff. Like, and not in the cool, fun retro way. If anything, there's a little bit more retro stuff
Yeah.
in that like it's the easier thing to do is to replicate something like a 95 on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right, like that. It seems more palpable and easy to do, but like there's kind of no modern solid like hockey game competitive that like an NHL like 17 for instance.
No.
But
No, you'll have to go to like Rocket League and play their hockey.
yeah, hockey
That's all you
version of
can
it.
get. Yeah.
That's where we're at, folks. We are nothing but retro this week. Paper
Yeah.
Mario, GameCube era, Songs of Conquest, old PC gaming, Heroes of Might and Magic homage,
Yeah.
games on PowerPoint.
Really, this show has been themed. I love it.
It's been wild, but we got through it because what we will say is we're going to wrap it up there for the week. Everybody, hey, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Did you like the show? Well, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. You can find us on Google Play, Spotify, Caster, iTunes, anywhere we find your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you do, what Jeff and I would be eternally grateful for is if you take a moment and subscribe. That really helps the numbers, and especially if you leave a review and a comment. Those do, we can almost see spikes when people do this type of thing because it really helps boost the signal. Like, hey, these two goofs are talking about NHL. We enjoyed the conversation. Every little bit helps. If you take a moment to do that, we'd be eternally grateful, and sharing it to friends, family, anything else as we try to get together as many gaming dads as possible. If you'd like to contribute to the show, if you have your own story, if you have a good deal on an NHL 09 PC key,
Yeah.
you can drop us a line or anything else dad related. Love to share stories of fellow gaming dads on the show. Find us at newdadgaming.com or at our socials at newdadgaming. Everybody, cannot thank you enough for listening. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Just remember, just because you became a dad.
Does not mean it's game over. Unless it's NHL 09.
Yeah, unless it's a PC version of a hockey game, and then just forget it.
Then it's
You're
game
out.
over. That's it.
All right. We'll see you next week.
See you later.